in a V, and across the railroad track to, again, a Whataburger. My goodness, with a big hole in it and that distinctive triangular roof. All these, familiar little landmarks that people drive by every day, their neighbors' homes. Suddenly, it looks as if a tornado ripped through here, and that's what they're saying happened. As you heard the chief say, that certainly there's no confirmation of that, but it sure does have all the signs of that it may have been something like that, and certainly something that they hope that they'll never see again, at least no time soon. But again, he says the threat is still out there, the day is not over, and again, the city is still on standby as it finds itself responding to its own natural emergency here, as opposed to certainly trying to send help down to South Texas.
Jesse, also they mentioned they have set up a shelter at St. Cecilia's.
Yes, exactly. Unknown as to how many people were actually affected by this, but I just heard them say dozens. So goodness knows how many will actually avail themselves of St. Cecilia's shelter. But certainly it's there if they need it. And of course, as always, the Red Cross is here to help out in whatever way they can. And they also gave out a 1-800 number a short time ago. I'm sorry, I don't have it right off the top of my head. But they did give out a 1-800 number if there is any kind of damage that certainly they need to know about. Public Works is here. In fact, you probably heard that little hum going on during the news conference. There was a street cleaner that was going down the street here on Steve's trying to clear some of the debris and broken glass. And don't forget, they also mentioned power lines that are still down in this area. Certainly CPS, City Public Service, has been out here trying to cut off power as quickly as they can, but just be aware to be on the lookout and to be very careful.
You mentioned that phone number. I do have that for people. If you think that you've suffered any damage to your home, the number to call is 1-800-621-FEMA. Again, that's 1-800-621-FEMA. And Jesse, real quick, Mike has a question for you.
Yeah, Jesse, from some of the statements earlier before, wasn't it about roughly a 2-block area affected by this?
Correct. It's about a two-block radius from what he was describing. And again, they've gone house to house, certainly along this stretch of Steve's, and then streets on either side of Steve, just to, again, make sure that no one was hurt and trapped inside their home or for some reason could not call for help. They apparently canvassed the area, and thank goodness they say no one was injured that they know of.
Jesse, I heard you mention that you have a personal connection to this area, so tell us a little about that and your own personal reaction when you arrived on the scene.
Well, it's just a normal day, and they said it started out with a heavy rain, certainly, as that one van moved through here earlier this morning, and then they thought the worst was over as the rain started to let up, but then suddenly, as this one gentleman described to me earlier, he said, I saw it, the wind was going like this. Another woman said, I heard a very, very loud noise, like a roar. In fact, she said, I thought it was a train derailment, which is, of course, something that some people in this area are very aware of, sadly so. But certainly it's something that they'll never forget. It was certainly not another day in the life.
I hear you. Let me tell real quick, too, to all the people who tuned in to originally watch All My Children, just so you know, of course, we do have some severe weather situations going on, so we are not showing All My Children. We will, however, show it at 1:05 tomorrow morning, Friday morning, so please set your VCRs or your DVR. 1:05, that's what time we will be showing All My Children. We're going to take a quick break. We'll check in with Mike on the situation, and we have a whole lot more to come, so stay with us. When you stop last,
what was indicated by radar earlier was moving at about 21 miles per hour, so they're all moving off to the north and east. But one thing we're going to have to watch out for, Leslie, is the fact that a lot of these things are training one on top of the other. They're dumping some pretty good rainfall amounts. If you saw some of the storms yesterday or even today, this rain is just blinding at times and coming down almost sideways. And then if you keep getting more rain in one spot, then that's going to cause some flooding. But this will continue to be the case throughout the rest of the afternoon.
Mike, I noticed driving in, it took me forever to get to work today because the rain was coming down so fierce, so hard. People were driving very slow, which of course is very smart, but you would just suddenly hit this pocket of water that you couldn't even see because it was so gray and misty with the pounding rain. Very difficult to see.
Yeah, and again, as we've been talking about, this is really the leftovers, or not really the leftovers, but still it is blamed on Dali. Dali has been continually downgraded. It's moving off into Mexico right now, but this is all still kind of wrapping around the back side of it. Again, we're looking at some of the live video up here. This is from the southeast side of town where either straight line winds or a tornado did a whole lot of damage, ripping roofs off of restaurants, off of offices, and off of other businesses down there, plus just snapping off tree limbs. We do have some crews out there trying to chip up all the debris and everything. And crews got out there very, very quickly. The fire, police, as well as some of the cleanup crews got out there very quickly, so hats off to those folks. And then down on the lower right-hand side of your screen, down here, we're just going to keep flipping through some of the TransGuide cameras to show you what's going on around town. And again, looking at the radar picture, if you do have to get out today, just try and maybe time it, but like Leslie was talking about, you run into some of these pockets. They may not last very long, but it is going to dump a whole lot of rain, and we can get some very, very strong straight-line winds. Trash cans, tree limbs, small tree limbs are going to get blown around, street signs at construction sites, things like that. So do keep this in mind. 37 coming up through Atascosa County. This looks like it's going to be kind of a trouble spot as well. And in this band of storms, this appears to be, at least in aerial coverage, sort of settling down or shrinking somewhat in aerial coverage, but it is still packing definitely a punch, and this extends back down toward Nixon. This will all continue to work its way up to the north. So folks around